The Army Painter is my favorite hobby company in the entire world. My desk is literally full of Army Painter products, and it takes me from being an average painter to putting above tabletop standard models out into the tournament scene. Not only that, but the Army Painter has sponsored more competitive play than any other hobby company in the industry. They allow us to keep doing the things that we do. If you enjoy the Army Painter as much as I do, head over to thearmypainter.com where you can use the discount code ARTOFWAR5 to get a discount on your next order.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Art of War. Today we're talking about Thousand Sons.
All of the Supreme Wizards.
That's right. You're a Thousand Sons guy, right?
I am a Thousand Sons guy. I love being a wizard. I'm so excited to cast spells again all of the time.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, the Codex got previewed a couple days ago on Saturday. We dropped our review. There is a game dropping in the War Room at 11 o'clock today. So if you are an aspiring sorcerer, if you are in fact a wizard or a mage of some description, you can go ahead and check that out. And what was the opponent for that?
I believe this is my game with John today that is about to release. So Space Marines.
Space Marines. Okay. Salamanders?
Salamanders. Yeah. There's actually some cool stuff in there.
All right. Well, if you want to check that out, if you're either a salamander, a lizard, or a mage, you can go lizard or a wizard.
Lizard wizard.
Lizard wizard.
Did you think about that?
All right. Well, so we're here to talk about that. And how are we feeling about Thousand Sons, Michael?
I'm feeling really good so far. I really love the book. The crazy part, though, is I haven't really solved what build I'm in love with yet, because I have like so many different options. I can run like a billion mutiliths. I can run like a Magnus build or a no Magnus build or the Rubric Phalanx build. I haven't even touched Psychic Storm or whatever you want to call it yet.
Warp Storm.
I haven't even touched it yet, but I know there's something in there too,
the
right?
Vehicle-based one, yeah.
Yeah, I think for like every Thousand Sons player, there is like certainly something in this book for you, right?
Absolutely. Well, if you like our content on this channel, you like anything we're talking about, please go ahead and like the video. It helps us out a lot. If you have your own opinions on where Thousand Sons will place in the meta, you can let us know down in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to our channel as well. If you want to see that game, maybe you're not subscribed to the War Room yet, and you want to see new Thousand Sons played on camera, you can go check out the link in the description down below, where there's a free 3-day trial at thewarroom.vhx.tv. That's a bit of a mouthful, but there is a link down in the description below.
That's the easy way.
Check it out, watch the videos, see our takes on Thousand Sons, watch the game, and then if you like our content, you can feel free to stick around.
Yeah, and then you can also check out the Codex review with me and Mike if you have any confusions on how the rules work themselves.
Yep. And that went up on Saturday to this channel right here. So, like, general power level wise, what would you say about Thousand Sons?
So I know they're very powerful. I'm trying to figure out where on the powerful scale we are, right? Because we're not going to come out of the races and just destroy everything, right? It's not going to be a situation where we're going to have like an 80% win rate on release or something ridiculous.
I would be surprised.
Yeah, like it's still a very difficult army to pilot. The question is like, how do we compete against like the other Titans right now? So like other good stuff right now is like Emperor's Children or like New Death Guard. And I think we have good stuff. I just don't know exactly what it is yet.
I think if your opponent is like slow and controllable, I think Thousand Sons is going to mollywop them.
Yeah, Thousand Sons has always loved the control matchup. It's like whether can they handle the punch in the face, right?
Right. So like World Eaters, I think, Emperor's Children, Creations, those could all be a little tough.
I think so too. So before, how you dealt with those matchups was using the indirect stratagem, right? So you'd like fly sorcerer up, like nuke the guys, stage behind the wall, and go from there. But now we have to get a little more in their face, right? Like in order to combat the dude behind the wall, I have to go behind the wall, right?
That's not a place Thousand Sons is like super comfortable.
It's not a comfortable place. However, you do have the rhinos now. Like you're way more mobile. You can like bounce around, do the double move. But the question is like, can 5 rubrics in one character like actually delete an entirely staged unit? If not, they're all dead.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, they're dead no matter what. So they better get their points there.
True.
I love what they did with the army rule, because now you're not shoehorned into taking. I mean, the characters are pretty good.
The characters are great. And you obviously still have to have them to cast the spells, but
you basically get to put them in rhinos without losing your cabal points. Cabal points aren't a thing. You don't have to take lists that just look like a long string of characters and like 3 units at the end.
Yep.
Because again, cabal point stacking doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter anymore.
You just need 4 psyker models, right?
Yeah, well, unless you have Magnus, right? Because he casts 2 spells. So
but like if you have a rubric sorcerer and a regular sorcerer in the same unit,
that's 2 spells.
2 spells.
Yep.
So like technically you can cast it all from 2 sorcerers, 2 rubric squads. So you're not you get a lot more flexibility with your army.
Yeah, the list design is giving you so much more freedom. It's genuinely insane, right? Like you don't before, in Index, I felt like every time I wrote a list, I was like, okay, I take this, this, and this, and this. Oh, I have like 100 points left. I can pick my favorite trash unit. But now it's just like there's so many different builds, and I don't know how to start.
So I mean, it feels like a pretty strong army, right? Because no matter where you start from, I will say having your army rule be Oath, and then let me tell you the other 3/4 of this army rule.
That's like a quarter of it.
Is pretty good.
And I think what's really sometimes gets underrated about it being like the 4 individual spells, like, yes, you do have to resolve them, right? However, these are 4 different places that you can interact, right?
Yes.
You can split up the damage buffs. You can make because certain characters don't need the damage buffs. For like an Infernal Master doesn't need Oaths of Moment, the spell.
Right, because nobody in that, like a Reaper chain cannon in that unit is re-rolling. It would be rolling to hit.
Right, yeah. So you can have a unit go, okay, my Sorcerer Squad is going to get my Oath spell. My Infernal Master is going to get my Twist of Fate spell, right? And then I might Doombolt this trash unit over here, right? You just you get all of the options at your fingertips.
Yeah, they have toned down some of the things in the book, right? Because the double move is 6 inches. Stop playing around
significantly nerfed, yeah.
With your units going infinity far. And they also, double Doombolt, very technically still exists.
It technically, asterisk exists, but the stats that you get both like super Doombolts is pretty tough.
It's pretty
honestly.
Low, and it's once a game, and it's only in one
one detachment. Now, I think you do take it in that one detachment always, because that is still just such a powerful rule, right?
Having 2 Doombolts, I could see it. How many points is it?
It's only a 15-point upgrade.
Okay, so 15 points to do D3 mortals or potentially D3 plus 3. That's probably
right. So where I look at it is, the worst part about it, funny enough, is it has to go on an Exalted Sorcerer, and the Exalted Sorcerers did not really see the glow up that the rest of them did. However, an Exalted Sorcerer on disc is actually quite useful, right? Because with the new Rhino package, you're actually in the Rhino, so you can't cast the spells. But having a little guy that can fly around, cast some spells, eventually later turn into a Mortal Wound package, because they did pick up grenades now. So they could go grenades, double Doombolt, fire their gun, and then also charge from this one little 100-point character. It can just go super crazy.
Yeah. I mean, what I will say is that a lot of the more abusive things have been removed. Yeah. That double Doombolt is happening one time.
One time.
One time.
You don't take an average of 40 mortal wounds over the course of the game anymore.
Well, I've whenever you hear the phrase, how many wounds does the average army have? You're like, oh, somebody's doing some degenerate stuff.
Something has gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, can I just table them by Doombolting 10 times? And the answer is usually yes. But you can't do that anymore. And Doombolt is never going to be 6 plus D3.
Yeah.
In fact, quite often it's going to just be D3.
Yeah. You have to really work for the buffs or work for some other way to boost your spell cast. Because, for instance, Magnus is going to give you Super Doombolt way more often than not, but a regular sorcerer with no buffs is going to only give it to you, I think, just exactly 50% of the time.
So, and, that is a lot, basically. You're essentially, instead of being a 1 to do D3, a 2 through a 5 to do D3 plus 3, and a 6 to do 6 plus D3, you're now essentially rolling a 4-up. And a 4-up, it's going to do D3 plus 3.
Yeah, and that's a spooky place to be when you have to have the damage, right?
Yeah, when you have to I have to kill this, or all my rubrics are dead.
Yeah.
Right? So I like that they toned a lot of that stuff down, which gives a lot of room for units to be cheaper and for units to be, better.
Yep. Now I think our points are a little too cheap. I think they got a little too excited.
Possible.
They got a little too excited. I wrote a list from the Index that gained 235 points.
It's a lot.
A crazy amount.
I mean, that's not even loosening up on the chain all the way back to where it was, right? Points wise?
No. Thousand Suns from original probably took close to 400 to 500 total points nerfs.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Loosening up on some of the rules. The rules are still really good.
They're crazy good.
Thank as an opponent of Thousand Suns, largely, thank God that they have no CP economy at all.
Yeah, that's actually a really big deal that is probably holding the chains on T-Suns right now. Because if I had any sort of way to reduce the CP cost and Magnus could like 1 CP, extend range by 9, reroll all hits and wounds, that would too good.
Yeah, if you had the World Eater Prince, right, and a Tallyman, that army would be like a whole tier higher.
It would be. It would genuinely bring it a whole tier higher. The CP economy is one of the biggest things holding it back. That's one of the big boosts of why I like Rubric Phalanx, for instance, because all the strats are 1 CP, except the -1 damage one.
That one you'll be okay spending 2 CP.
Yeah, you're okay spending 2 CP on that. But everything else is 1 CP, whereas like the Grand Coven one has a bit more issues. Because the one you want to use all the time is 2 CP, so you only get to do it like maybe twice per game. Right?
Yeah, and while the damage is very good out of these units, you do have to set the combos up for them to do the damage.
You do. But that's always been like a T-Suns classic, right? You got to lay the plans.
Right. Yeah. You gotta prepare the plan. But basically, you have to engineer that the unit is on an objective that you're targeting to do like maximum damage, and then the +2 AP thing is pretty crazy.
Super good. Like I have been so impressed every single time because that was 9 Cabal points in the Cabal point economy, and that was genuinely about half your Cabal points in most lists, right? And now
you don't kill armor contempt to up saves. You don't kill stuff in cover generally.
Yeah, and now you just get it.
Yeah,
like
rubrics ignore cover. The character doesn't.
Here's my Soul Reaper cannon, AP4, ignore cover.
Oh, is it AP2 base?
It's AP2 base.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
AP2 base, ignore cover.
Yeah, I mean that's sketchy with full rerolls to wound, potentially rerolls to hit. Now it's weird. Like the rerolls to hit, that army auto hits a lot. So there's a lot of time where your best units are like, I can't use this offensive buff.
Yeah, so that's really like good for your Zangor Enlightened, right? The Bow Goats. That's really good for your tanks because your tanks are significantly more viable now. Which is really
Forge Fiend's also not bad. They're what, 140?
Somewhere around that price point, yeah. What's great is you can run Predators, you can run Forge Fiends. I mean, you can even like actually run a Vindicator, right? Like,
dude, Death Guard would murder someone for a Vindicator.
Yeah, like you can just have a reroll to hits Vindicator just like running around like in a T-Suns army in addition to all the other stuff, and that's like something that like 2 months ago you've been like, what are you talking about? Like,
or an AP5 Vindicator.
You can have an AP5 Vindicator. Yes, that is crazy.
Yes, I will say the army is not without its weaknesses, right? All armies have weaknesses. The weaknesses here is anything that can get up on you because you do a ton of damage. You have a ton of utility, which is a really good combination for 40k.
Yep.
Bad CP economy, in fact, like 0. So you're not cycling cards a lot. Units are not like free. They're still kind of expensive to do damage.
Kind of.
It's you're looking at the upper hundreds.
You are looking at the upper hundreds. That is correct.
Right. You don't have like World Eater spawn, right? That are like 80 points, run out and kill something.
So the Chaos spawn are like okay for that. They are certainly not as deadly as the World Eater spawn, right?
I mean, maybe I'm just World Eater pillar.
But ours are tanky.
That's true.
Ours are super tanky.
You're the 5-up
and heal flat 3,
which is good. Yeah, which is good. But you're fairly short range, right? Fairly short range, and still even with the double move, a little on the slower side, because like you can't use that charge move to get a lot of that distance out there.
Yeah. So the big thing with Thousand Sun speed is when you look at it, it is a traditionally slow army, right? However, you can always be very fast in one specific place. So you can double move in exactly one specific place, or you can crystal in one place, or you can use assault in one place, right? So it's like fast and slow at the same time. You're just very fast when you want to be. But when your opponent's like super far back and you're like, okay, I can be fast with exactly one unit, that leads you in a pretty rough place sometimes.
Yeah. So I think it's still going to be an army that requires a lot of skill expression to get its full power out of it.
You still just like make a mistake and die.
Yes.
Right.
And at least you're not in the position where you make a mistake, die, and now you just like don't have the Cabal points you need to recover out of that death spiral.
Yeah, I've really felt that buff. Honestly, like when you're getting down to low resources and I still get all 4 spells, like as long as I have at least 4 wizards, that's a huge buff to the army.
Yeah, it actually goes like the opposite direction as it used to, like where Eldar basically are, which is when you get to a low model count game, your army still works at 100% efficiency. And you get all of your detachment rule. It's like when Eldar has 4 agile tokens and you are early game, that's good.
Yeah.
When you're late game, you're just, you still have 4 agile tokens. It doesn't matter that both sides have like 4 units left, right? And it'd be the same way with Thousand Suns.
Which is quite nice. And then I've seen some complaints that are like, but we have to cast them. Guys, I want you to like just go read the math. The math of actually resolving these spells is not hard.
No.
The 2d6, see the result, add the third dice. It's so easy to get these spells off. Like,
yeah, that's might be a little too easy, especially because if you fail the power, you can just be like,
oh no, I'll try again.
I'll just do it again with someone else.
Yeah. So like, yes, you're not guaranteed to get any of your supercast off. The supercast math can be like a little weird sometimes, specifically like Twist of Fate and like the Super Doombolt, right? That's where it gets a little dicier. But like even like the 3d6 move flat 6 or 3d6 oaths is above 50%.
And Mutiliths, you're going to want to take Mutiliths.
Yeah, and you're going to want to take Mutiliths because they're great. Or your Aramon or Magnus, and you have even more bonuses, right? And there's some enhancements for bonuses as well, right? So there's just so many ways to just pump these numbers up.
Do you take Aramon if you don't take Magnus? Or does it depend?
That's what I'm currently doing. I'm currently a big fan of that, but I'm looking at exploring that Exalted on Disc I was talking about before, because honestly, I have found that casting the spells has been so easy that I don't know that I need the +1.
What, you need to hit 10 on 3d6 +1 because you have a Mutilith nearby?
Right, like it's not been hard.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm looking at the Double Bolt, so I can flex it as my little caster that's just going to poke out and cast on my trash, so they can just move a little farther, and then later turn into the Mortal Wound Bomb, right, which I quite like. However, Armon's like, I love him.
Does he only cast 1?
He does cast 1.
At +1?
At +1, yeah. So he does have to redeploy, which has actually been really quite useful. And Aramon also has the flat 3 damage melee. Aramon has +1 to cast. Aramon has a new gun, which is still not the best.
It's better than the old gun.
But it's better than the old gun.
I guess.
It's better than the old gun. So I'm still pretty interested in him. At 100 points, I also think that's fair.
That's pretty fair.
Right?
That's pretty fair. He also bops in combat.
Bops in combat, right? And the other thing to remember too is that you can fly out, cast your spells, and do an action. You're still like, you don't lose that.
No,
so so you can like fly out, like for instance, you're doing area denial or something like that, and you can just Doombolt whatever's off the middle and then cleanse it.
And I'm super happy that Doombolt isn't just as like gross as it used to be.
No, I'm very happy they still kept the Mortal Wound package, because that, for me, that's like one of the things I love about T-Suns. I love casting a spell and dealing mortal wounds. Like it's just so fun. Like I love doing that. So I was really afraid they were just like really take that all away, but we still have some way that we can do the old school, cast the spells, do the mortal wounds.
Yeah. And a lot of the time you're going to be taking D3+3, but you're not just going to be like, I spend 14 Cabal points, blat, blat, and then I get back in a Rhino.
Yeah.
You
cannot do that anymore.
Cannot do that.
Which was like such the worst cycle ever.
Yeah. You like also building that list was rough because you had to get to exactly... How many was it? It was like 19.
It was 19.
It was 19. You had to have 19 Cabal points on the table.
Yes, and you had to think about the math. You're like, okay, so if I crystal here, maybe if I like rapid ingress this squad in order to get my Cabal point factory up, or I can't be in the Rhino this turn.
You just like couldn't build that list.
Just too much. It was just too much management, right?
Yeah. And I'm happy they did away with that. It was just too techy. It made writing lists awful as well.
It did, and it was just super boring, right? Because you were just handcuffed to the Cabal count, and you had to take the right amount, and you had to take the right units, and you had to spam Infernal Masters because they were the cheapest thing for 2 Cabal points, and they did tons of damage, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know that you have written a lot more Thousand Suns lists than me, but I also wrote a lot of Thousand Suns lists. I just didn't like play them a lot. I would write them and be like, wow, this took me like 2 days. It feels awful. I hated the entire process.
Yep.
And then I put the army away for like a couple weeks.
Yeah, it just always felt so bad. There was just such little room for like innovation. So a big thing that I actually like to run was like a 5-man Scarebuckle Terminator squad with a Termi Sorcerer. That was like a really big thing in Index. I really enjoyed. I thought it was really quite good. However, in order to like do that, I had to like mull over a list for like a day, like you said, being like, okay, what do I have to sacrifice now?
Yeah.
Right? Like...
Yeah. Oh, by the way, everybody, we will get to every single super chat here. We're just going to cover them all at the end in one big go.
One big go at it.
One big go. Yeah, so I love the design that I love the fact that they're not doing the old design.
Yeah, the new design is flavorful. I think it's really cool. A lot of our units are very unique. And it does something that's a little new, right? It feels very different to me, like playing it as I can't really compare it to like another army or even another like iteration of Thousand Suns that it's really felt like before.
Yeah, I liked the 9th edition Psychic phase.
Me too.
I don't think they needed to get rid of it.
I miss it.
I think it was flavorful. I think it was... There's a lot of customization in 9th that you could do. And then in 10th, a lot of that's gone. You get an enhancement, and that's what you get. And you have the power that's on your data sheet, and that's what you get. And I like anytime there's like a little bit of that pizzazz.
Yeah, you know? Me too.
Even if there's still no customization involved.
Yeah, the 9th edition Psychic Phase is one of my favorite things. And when I read the rule, the Cabal of Sorcerers, and it just said, roll 2d6 to resolve your spell, I genuinely was so happy. Like, I was over the moon that I got to roll 2d6 and cast a spell.
Now, the downside to rolling doubles and triples is like non-existent.
It's basically non-existent. Honestly, the only one it really matters on is Magnus, right?
Yes.
And the other thing, too, is you get a little information after you roll the 2d6. In case you roll a double right there, you can already know, be like, I don't really want to take the mortals here. So I'll just like go to a different one.
It's kind of wacky that the mortals only happens if you roll the 3d6, and you can roll the 3d6 after seeing what you rolled on the 2d6.
Yeah, the sequence is very specific. I've seen a lot of confusion about this. So you roll 2d6.
Yeah.
If you roll doubles, nothing bad happens to you, right?
Yep.
If you get it off super or regular, doesn't really matter. You just kind of check the number and see the result. So after that, you see the 2d6. You then can decide to add the third d6. And then you resolve the spell.
And if at that point, after you've rolled the third die, if there's any doubles or triples, you take D3.
Exactly.
And listen, if there's triples, man, there should be... Okay, if there's triples, it's because you saw doubles on the dice
and you're okay with it.
And you rolled the die again. Yeah. If there's triples, kill that man. Like, that sorcerer should die.
That's a choice you made, right?
Right? Like,
your lust for power.
If you roll triples, that's on you, okay? Because you saw doubles and you were like, I'm going to channel anyway.
Yeah, which I've done that before. Honestly, I've seen it, and I was like trying to get my Twist of Fate off, and I rolled like a 10 or something like that. And I was like, whatever, D3 mortals for extra 2 AP on all my guns this shooting phase. Okay.
Yeah.
Deal.
Oh, twist my arm. Yeah, I think triples should literally kill the guy.
Just bonk him.
Just remove him from the board. Because you made the choice to push your luck there and take the 1 and 6. And if you do that,
what about Magnus? You think Magnus is just off the
Magnus
table?
takes the 3d6 plus 25 damage. I don't know.
Okay, all right. That probably picks him off the table.
Magnus maybe can have a rule where he only takes D3. Because on him, D3 sucks hard.
That is like a real concern I have with Magnus, because he does cast the 2 spells, and you're really constantly fishing for the super cast off him. It's kind of spooky.
You just basically take D3 wounds a turn.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
It actually adds up. Like, that's a real thing.
Yeah. I think if you push your luck and you see doubles on the dice and you roll it, I think there should be, and you hit the triples, I think there should be more penalties.
Yeah, I could see that the triples is more punishing, right? Because it feels kind of weird that triples is the same as like 2s.
Yeah.
Right? And it's significantly rarer, right? Yeah. So it should be like a super perils.
I
probably should just be like D6 mortals or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. I suppose kill that man is maybe that's something I want, but you know.
Yeah.
Either way. But I mean, D6 mortals oftentimes is a guy dead.
Yep. Sometimes more guys dead.
But I mean, by and large, I think the army is going to be very good.
I think it's very good. I think Thousand Sons are now here to stay. Where they end up exactly in the meta is kind of to be determined. I think they're going to be fighting in the upper echelons. I think they're going to be one of the big dogs you have to be ready for. Just how ready for and what build you're ready for to be determined.
I think they're going to have some polarizing matchups.
I think so too. I think there's going to be some games where a Thousand Sons player walks up and it's like, you can't do anything to me. And you just destroy them, right? And now there's going to be some matchups where it's like, I don't know if I can do anything. Right?
Yeah, like you run in, EC is like the perfect example of a T-Sons killer.
I played that matchup and that was rough. Like I felt like I had very little agency in that game.
You did.
Yeah. I just was like, okay, so if I just come out at all, you have more units than me, and every single one of them destroys my life.
Yeah, because that's like the T-Sons thing is it's a bunch of scary Marines, right? Marines aren't that hard to kill. You have a bunch of scary Marines that are fairly close range but do a ton of damage, and EC will just go from out of your range, behind a wall, to in your unit, killing it.
Yeah. And anything that can do that loop repeatedly is like not good. Right?
I think a Berserker Warband list that also takes like a bunch of Zerkers and a bunch of Spawn would also be really bad. Because Spawn will kill 5 rubrics a decent amount of the time.
Yeah, and it's not very difficult.
No, if you get dev wounds against infantry and sustained hits, they should do it.
D6 plus 4 is a lot of attacks.
D6 plus 5.
So
D6 plus 5.
Oh, it's D6 plus 5. Oh, that's right.
Berserker Warband on the charge.
Warband.
So it's 2d6 plus 10 attacks that hit on 4s or 3s if an 8-bound is nearby.
Right.
With sustained hits, dev wounds damage too.
That is actually a lot.
Yeah. Is Spawn or Cranked?
Our Spawn are cool, but they're not that cool.
They're not that cool. And they advance and charge natively and move 10.
With Scout, which is pretty cool.
With Scout 8. Yeah. So I think, and also Forge Fiends I think are pretty rough. So I could see any kind of aggressive melee army that's fast being real trouble, which is kind of how it always was.
Which was pretty interesting too, because Index, like sometimes fast aggressive armies, T-Sons could deal with pretty reasonably by controlling space and using the Exalteds on disc to like slow them, use the indirect and go from there. But that whole kind of sequence is gone, right? Yes. Like our really big control piece is out of the picture. And Zangors are a little more expensive now, and we don't have like 30 cultists to run around anymore.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll kind of see how it shakes out.
And also, both of those armies have guns that can credibly move. They can move fairly quickly, right? EC ones are faster, and Emperor's Children ones are faster. Yeah. But the Forge Fiend or Noise Marines can come out, blow up a 5-man rubric unit the moment it like shows itself.
Yeah.
Which can be really tough.
Yeah, Noise Marines were super tough for me to deal with because there's like a bunch of Lord Exultants running around, which like kills a whole rubric squad. And then also there's like a bunch of Noise Marines running around that also kill a whole rubric squad. And there's also all these Demon Princes that like also kill a whole rubric squad. And it was just like, okay, this is not good.
The first line hits you. You have to come out to deal with the first line because otherwise it's just going to hit you again.
And it honestly takes basically your whole army, like actually, to actually kill the whole first line, right?
Yep. And then the second line hits you, and then you hit that back, and you kill like half of it.
Yep.
And then you get hit by the third line and the remains of the second line, you get tabled.
Yeah. And then that's just it.
Yeah. So you have to play, like you have to be real on it to get that game out. So I could see some polarized matchups there.
Yeah, and the thing with Thousand Sons, it's kind of always been a thing, is that every matchup feels like a skill-based matchup, right? Like any kind of game where you like skill diff your opponent, even a tiny amount, the Thousand Sons player gets a huge advantage, right? Or you walk up to a table and you're like, hey, like how much do you need me to tell you about Thousand Sons? They're like, I've never played against them before. And they're like, oh man, this is like not going to be pretty.
Yeah, the secret to playing into Thousand Sons, by the way, is it used to be, this was like the big secret to playing into Thousand Sons. Now it's just the regular secret, is they can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But they can't do all of it.
Yep.
And they may not want to do all of it.
Yeah.
So like if you look at Magnus and say, well, he could be over here, or he could be over here, he could use this spell, he could use that spell. He can do one of those things, make them choose, make them commit to a line, and then hit them back.
Yeah, this is like something that I've always kind of talked about, like, since we're both actually like aggressive army enjoyers, right? Yeah. Where the moment like you play against an army like Eldar, Ynnari, or Thousand Sons, where it's like, they just have like unlimited options, it feels like. Okay, just ignore it.
Yeah, make them
like,
commit to
like
one.
Unironically, just like go punch them in the face and just say, okay, you're going to do one of these things. I have no agency over that. Do your thing.
Yep. And then you punch them in the face
again.
And
then you just punch them in the face again. Like, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's like a real strategy. That sounds super dumb, but like that's really what you do.
If you psych yourself out about what if they go here, I got to prep against that. And what if they go here, I got to prep against that. And I got to cover for this. You're just going to sit in your deployment zone.
You'll just sit in your deployment zone all game.
Yeah.
You have to go forth and conquer.
Yep. And they like don't want to send units forward. Like T-Sons don't really want to try and reach out into the middle of your army, send a unit around a wall and hit you. Because that's most of the time trading down.
Most of the time it's trading down because the rubrics and characters are traditionally more expensive, right?
Traditionally more expensive. And if you're not on an objective, they don't reroll wounds, right? So there's a lot of play there, even for people who maybe don't have the best matchup. But if you're slow and you're controllable, that's going to suck.
It's going to suck a lot. It's going to suck like a lot.
All right, let's go over some of these super chats.
Sounds good.
We got Here's Horse, There's Horse, Everywhere's Horse, member for 19 months of the War Room Silver, saying, loving life as a Space Marine main now that Thousand Sons get Oath of Moment as a quarter of their army rule.
Hey, but I have to cast it.
He does have to cast it.
I have to cast it.
So, think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, Oath I don't think is the strongest army rule in the game anyway.
No. I mean, it's very powerful. Like, don't get me wrong. It's good.
It's good. Like, it's good. It's good. It's solid. It's like right in the middle of the pack, I'd say. Yeah. And that, that didn't change. I mean, Thousand Sons had a better army rule than Space Marines before.
And also the other thing with Oaths right now is like the only reason it's like super OP in T-Sons is because the regular sorcerer can be sustained 3 and lethals 4 rolling hits. That's
pretty good. That's
the real problem. It's actually not that crazy otherwise.
No, because a lot of the damage dealers are either like a Mutalith shooting you, which is, yeah, sure, it hurts. But
re-rolling my railgun does feel good. But
most of the time it's like, whatever. It hits on a 3. It was going to hit 2/3 of the time anyway.
Yep.
It's one shot. But rerolling to hit on the characters that get sustained. That's what goes sustained crazy. With questionable numbers.
Yeah, that's the insane part.
Is pretty good.
It's like it's pretty reasonable to be like, oh, here's my sustained 9.
Honestly, the part I'm more concerned about rather than full rerolls to hit on that army, because a lot of the damage dealers auto hit, is the +2 AP. That one is sketchy.
That's the big one.
Just play demons. It'll be fine. Play demons into T-Suns. Traditionally a fine matchup.
Traditionally totally a fine matchup.
Traditionally okay. Don't worry about it.
Demons definitely never hate mortal wounds.
No,
ever.
They get blown up.
Yeah.
All right. Jonathan Haynes with a $2 super chat says, good morning, Michael and Jack. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning.
Good morning. Redrum says, how are Eaters good into T-Suns after losing Feel No Pain? They just walked through them with dev wound damage. Funny story. Feel No Pain was never going to save you in the past.
It was never going to save you anyway. This is actually true.
Yeah. So Feel No Pain loss like matters ? But it kind of doesn't.
Yeah. So we talked about this a little. The old T-Suns matchup was good for T-Suns into World Eaters. Like there was like actually real things you can do, and like there were games where you can just box out the World Eaters player and they don't exist. But that we've lost the play patterns that let us do that. We don't have half movement exalted on disc anymore. We don't have indirect, and we don't have the ability to necessarily hunt you behind the wall very easily anymore, right? Yeah. That was what made that matchup okay at the end of the day.
And World Eaters sprouted a number of data sheets that are very good into T-Suns.
Yeah. Like Chaos Spawn existing and like being able to mulch your Rubric Brain Squad is like actually a very big deal. Like that did not exist.
They move super fast. Yeah. Like before they could do okay damage into rubrics, they hit dramatically harder now, which means sure they're less durable, right? They don't have the 4 Feel No Pain. Mm. But that's not what makes that a bad matchup for Thousand Suns. What makes it a bad matchup is the unit, like it moves 15 inches out and kills an entire Rubric Marine squad. And that sucks. And then another really good data sheet for dealing with T-Suns are Forge Fiends.
Yes, the Forge Fiends. The fact that you have gun now is like a big deal, right? Having gun is very good.
You don't have like an amazing way to drop Forge Fiends quickly.
Yeah, it kind of depends, right? I played this one game and I was able to pick up a Forge Fiend with like a double bolt and then shooting like one gun at it or something along those lines. But if I didn't get those super bolts off, then it's like, okay, this is actually significantly harder to kill all of a sudden. Like,
and if your opponent has 3 Forge Fiends, I'm pretty confident you can find a way to not that tough, get rid of one of them.
Yeah.
The second one is a lot tougher unless you have Magnus.
Yeah. This is a game I haven't played yet, technically, with both new books, right?
So I'm happy to play it.
Yeah, we'll I'm sure it'll happen eventually.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So maybe we'll learn something. But I think for surface level, it looks much harder now for the T-Suns player.
I would say that. Now, I do think there are builds where that could be, less hard. I think Berserker Warband with a bunch of Spawn and a bunch of Forge Fiends is pretty harsh.
Yeah.
But, other builds can still melee pressure and do that stuff.
I think so.
Secondhand Geek says, I don't own any Chaos. I'd like to expand my horizons. Should I sell half of my Tyranids on Secondhand Geek and buy new T-Suns also on Secondhand Geek?
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Probably.
T-Suns is a great place to start.
Yeah, I love that army. It's gorgeous. Like, the models are so cool. Unique rules. There's nothing quite like it.
I'm Too Random says, is this finally an army that it makes sense to use Abhor the Witch Vow against with all their AP? That's in Righteous Crusaders.
Right. What does that actually do again,
I don't
Jack?
know if you know what Righteous Crusaders does.
I don't.
So Righteous Crusaders, it picks from 4 vows at the start of the game. Abhor the Witch it's not one I've ever picked for reasons I will outline in a second. But I believe it gives you a 4-up invuln against psychic attacks.
Okay.
And I think it also gives you like something. It gives you like a move at the start of the game or something.
Oh, yes. You can like scout towards psychers or something.
Yeah, I think you get to scout towards psychers.
Okay, which is like kind of fun.
It comes up occasionally. Righteous. But the reason I don't take it
is the Feel No Pain is just better math-wise, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
So the Feel No Pain, and also, I've played in the T-Suns before. If you take your army rule and change it from a Feel No Pain to a defense against psychic attacks, what happens, Michael?
I'm just going to mortal wound you off the table.
Well, you're gonna
right?
Sure, you're gonna hit me with some mortal wounds, but also there's a lot of guns in that army that are not psychic.
Oh, that's true.
Yes.
I forgot. Yeah, the non-psychic guns also then just kill you.
So it is you get a 4-up invuln and melee weapons get anti-psyker 4+. So it might be an enhancement. I think it's an enhancement. No, it's not. That might have just been 9th edition.
Might have been a 9th. Actually,
I think that was 9th edition.
I actually think I know what you're talking about, and I think it was a 9th edition.
It was 9th edition. Yeah, you have 4-up invuln and anti-psyker 4+, which I did in the past switch my Terminators to this vow or added on top. I forget which one.
To go punch Magnus.
I punched out a Norn.
Oh, that's actually very
I did
fun.
like 36 mortal wounds to it because they're
that's
death
fun.
wounds.
That's cute.
But no, I don't ever pick this one because
The Feel No Pain is probably just better.
the Feel No Pain is better math. Also, Tannhauser's Bones, which is the 5-up Feel No Pain, turns off completely if you do not have Uphold the Honor of the Emperor up.
That would not be fun.
No, that would be quite bad. And to get a 4-up Invult only against psychic attacks means that your opponent will go +2 AP and fire AP3 Norse Cover Flamers at you.
Yeah, and
then
that it's just going to pick you up from there.
So, no, you still want the Feel No Pain. Scott Nagao, $5 super chat. Pink hair fun for Jack. Right. What's your thoughts on T-Suns versus Death Guard? Well, you play both those armies.
I do. My initial impression that would be T-Sun's favored. Death Guard are probably just too slow.
A little bit. I do think if they had like a couple Plague Burst crawlers in there, that would help you.
The Plague Burst crawlers can be a little annoying, but we actually do get to run rhinos now.
True.
Right? So that changes that quite a bit. And you can just like reserve the one Rubik squad that isn't in the rhino. And our trash is like mutiliths. So they don't really.
Your trash is like the little disky boys, right?
You can run Enlightened. I personally am a big fan of Chaos Spawn. That's generally what I favor.
They're not going to die to that.
Yeah, and I bring Enlightened when I have the points left over, right? I do like Enlightened quite a bit. I usually have 1 to 2 squads, but you can also just chuck them into reserves in this matchup, right?
Yeah. Odds that the spawn die to the indirect is low.
Yeah, because at the moment, my current build has 2 Chaos Spawn and 3 Zangor Enlightened in it.
2 units of 2? Or
2 units of 2 Chaos Spawn, yeah.
Because they heal, the invul doesn't matter against the indirect, but then you heal for 3 in each player's command phase. So if they don't kill you,
it's just the same. It's like you're a beast of Nurgle at that point, right?
Yeah. All right. Ryan G. But basically, sorry. The takeaway is, yeah, I'd rather be on the T-Sun side than on the slow army that like walks units into T-Suns. There's definitely room there for Death Guard. Probably stuff with Plague Marines, and then you running the Plague Marines up 12 in a Rhino, dropping them out, putting stuff in contagion range, and then dropping Death Shroud on them.
Yep. There's some lines there, but I think it'd probably be T-Sun's favored.
Yeah, for sure. I'd rather be on the T-Sun side. Ryan G, $2 super chat says 3d6 triples should turn infantry characters to spawn. 100%.
My favorite strat in the book is the mutant detachment, where when your character dies, he turns into a chaos spawn.
It's actually really good.
It's actually really good. That's my favorite strat in the book.
Because you die in an objective and you're like, all right, I still hold it.
Here's my unit.
Yeah. Is it end of phase he turns into a spawn or immediate?
I think it's into phase. I'd have to double check that.
Got it. Luminarch, $2 super chat says, hey, do you think Rubricate Phalanx will have play?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's actually really quite good. I'm still trying to solve whether I want Covenant or Phalanx. Phalanx offers like a lot of flexibility, which is really quite good. But whether that's the best thing, I have to figure out, right?
I'm too random. $5 super chat says, powered up Marines that can crank AP, reroll hits, can reposition quickly when needed, that have lots of tricks. Am I talking about 1,000 Suns or Deathwatch?
That is kind of funny.
Yeah. I mean, basically, I will say Deathwatch is tougher because
Deathwatch is significantly tougher to kill.
T6 3 wounds is
T6 3 wounds is
different.
a lot different than my T4 2 wound guys.
And there is a big difference between teleporting and moving 6 inches.
Yeah. Well, you get the teleport with the crystal, but it's in 1 detachment with 1 unit in the book.
Yeah. All right, Corey Schultz, to round out this video, $2 super chat says, I hope I get to play you this weekend. Let's check out what Corey's playing. Let's roast him.
Oh, you're pulling it up.
Oh yeah, no, I know Corey. I know Corey, and I know he's playing Necrons. There's no way he's not.
Got it.
And he is also definitely going to be playing something really stupid. Listen, Corey would agree with that. He can tell you.
Okay. All right.
There's no way he's not playing something really dumb.
Jack, what are you playing this weekend?
I'm playing. He doesn't have a list submitted.
Wow.
No list submitted. Crazy. Well,
that's crazy. You know,
I'm gonna guess it involves like two Doom Scythes and like a DDA and like I don't know.
Bring a monolith.
Tesseract Vault.
I want to see a monolith.
Tesseract Vault that's actually an obelisk.
Okay, Tesseract Vault could be. I can see that.
And the Silent King. Dude, at the last event he went to, I think he took like Tesseract Vault, Silent King, 2 Doom Scythes, and like 3 of the like stalkers, canoptic stalker things.
Oh,
that scout forward.
The centipedes?
Yeah, no, not the Ford. Those got,
Oh, they
murdered.
did? Oh, I thought they were in the book.
Oh, he's playing triple Doom Scythe. He's playing triple. I told you, it's true. He plays the dumbest stuff. It's great.
I've played against the triple scythes
before.
That's
good. His Scythe one-tapped Magnus last time that Art of War played Midwest Monsters.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, just rolled 11 hits on 3 shots.
Okay, that would make me real sad.
Yeah. Anyway, So that is the end of the video. Thank you all for joining us. And stay tuned for lots and lots of Thousand Sons games and content in the War Room and on our YouTube channel.
Thank you very much, guys.
Bye-bye.